We are at the Red Cross War Memorial Children's Hospital today, here in beautiful Winstall, Cape Town. The Efficient Group has been a supporter of the Footprints for Sam initiative for many years, since 2018. The initiative is there to assist parents to visit their children in hospital. We know economically it's difficult for many people and to travel and the cost of transport, and this initiative has been very successful. We're here today with Melissa and Thomas. We've been involved with the Footprints for Sam for many years, but maybe a little bit of background.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you, Heiko. Thank you, Thomas. It's always really hard for me to be in this space. A few levels down is where my husband and I had to say goodbye to our son. He died here. And, you know, every time you think it's going to be okay to visit the hospital again, and we spend a lot of time here, but it's always difficult. And Sam was in hospital his whole life, 15 and a half months. We started in Johannesburg and just had care that I realized we had a privileged journey, but it was one where we felt unheard, unseen. And it just seemed that as a parent, your one thing to do is to care for your child, and that was taken away from us. And, you know, our journey with Footprints for Sam has been to say, let's look at what went horribly wrong with Sam, and how do we make it different for other children? How do we make sure that parents are heard and seen? And, you know, we saw that there were so many children here because this is where Sam died, as I said. And he just, you know, I could go home, I could get into a car, I could have a meal, I could go home and have a shower. And we just noticed that so many children were alone. And that's not okay.
I mean, under the best of circumstances, you guys had it extremely tough.
We did.
And there's so many people that have this extreme situation, but also not even have the privilege of access and
exactly.
The few benefits that you had at that stage. I mean, was so important for you at that stage.
What keeps you sane? But these kids, you know, they might be alone, and you look at it through a first world lens and you think, oh, why would you leave your child alone? And then you realize it's because, not because they want to, they can't get here.
Circumstances.
Absolutely. Or Sam didn't die from central core disease, which was his rare muscle myopathy. He died from being in hospital for too long. And when children are in hospital for so long, they get repeated infections, which we call a nosocomial infection. And that's a superbug infection. So Footprints for Sam is about how do we get children home quickly? How do we get them home to heal? How do we support their families so they know that they're not alone? How do we bring children so that they're not alone, and their parents, that if a child dies, that a family doesn't have to get into a crowded taxi, they can go home and be cared for and protected in like a VIP vehicle, which is amazing. That they have food at their bedside with our buckets and toiletries to keep the hygiene going when they go home. And then to have beautiful spaces where children can heal. So we try and uplift counseling rooms, breastfeeding rooms, because beautiful spaces are healing. Otherwise it's just a hospital. Places where children can play and mothers can just take a breath and breathe and have community of support around them. So it's been a journey, and one day we hope to have a whole fleet across the country, but it's made life-changing difference to so many families, and you're going to get to meet some of them.
Absolutely, and just from an efficient point of view, I mean, we get a monthly report with a lot of detail. We share it quite widely, I think, which is great. I think if one sees that there's an impact on the ground, I think that is really important. And I would recommend anyone that wants to get involved in an initiative like this to consider that.